Hello, welcome back.
Welcome back. Another stream.
Yeah, back from like a little 1 week break, I
Oh
guess.
yeah, we didn't
Week and a
stream
half.
last week.
Yeah, so
Nice
hello
to
to
see
everybody.
everyone. Yeah, so what are we talking about today?
Well, we have some exciting news. We've been talking about Quinly Vision for a while, and
It's nearly been a year actually.
it's been almost a year. Yeah, I guess it has, right? Yeah, so we're talking about Quinly Vision today, but we're doing a Kickstarter for it. And we're talking about the Kickstarter. And I guess also we're going to be talking about Kickstarter in general, like why we're choosing to do a Kickstarter for Quinly Vision.
Hmm.
We'll be talking about the other, Kickstarters going on, some of the news, some of the new recent, printers that have been coming out. Um, Maybe talking a little bit about like the trends with like smart 3D printers these days. Um, and then also we'll be giving an update on some normal 3DQ stuff, just like our betas um, that are going on, like our multi-printer update and a couple new 3D printers that we're going to do Quinly for. So uh, yeah, hope you guys enjoy our content here. It's going to be a good stream.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And it's gonna be cool. I'm curious to hear everyone's opinions on some of the recent stuff that's been going on with the
Yeah,
new smart printing. Because it's
yeah,
like finally we're seeing printers with the features that we're trying to build. So
yeah,
it's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty exciting. So why don't we just, while everyone comes in, why don't we give people an update on some of the betas that we've been working on?
Yeah, what's going on at 3DQ? Well, I think first of all, we had a little gift recently.
Oh yeah,
A surprise showed up at our office here, and I've got one half of it here.
yeah.
We got a
So
whole packet of Red Bulls here. These are the big ones too.
someone clearly thought that we weren't developing the betas fast enough.
Yeah.
So I guess they sent us two cases of Red Bull and no one's fessed up to it yet. So I wonder who it was,
Oh
but
no, no, we've got
you found out?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
just to see on our
Oh, it was
Discord.
Pat. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Pat.
It was targeted at the Quinly Docker development team, so
Oh, that makes
that's
sense.
what he was hoping
Yeah.
for.
Okay.
And yeah, we haven't actually slept in 2 weeks, so
Yes. But
we're
this is what's remaining. This is the last case that's remaining. We haven't stopped drinking them since we received it.
yeah,
So,
yeah. We sip them slowly to make them last longer.
yeah. Yes.
I
Almost.
had one this morning actually. That's
Oh my God.
probably why I'm still awake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you to Pat. That was very nice,
Yeah.
nice surprise.
Very nice gift. And it has, I think we're closing issues about 50% faster than we were before. So
Yeah,
it has definitely helped.
it gives me something to look forward to on my way to the office.
Other than working with 3D printers all day.
Other than everything else to look forward to,
Right,
right?
right,
Of
right,
course.
right.
It's our hydration method, right? You
Yeah.
guys love it when we hydrate, so
Yeah. So we've turned the water mains off at
yeah.
the office. This is all we have now.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks, Pat. It's being put to good use, actually.
Yeah. I know we were talking to Steph, she was trying to come up with like a new drink idea, mixing coffee and Red Bull together to possibly double the benefits of both. I don't know how well that's going to taste. It sounds terrible in my
Yeah,
opinion,
I
but
think
apparently it works.
it would
Apparently it works.
put you to sleep permanently, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not waking up if you drink that.
No. You might be really awake for like a moment and then you'll be gone.
Yeah, yeah. Your heart will be really awake
Yeah.
for a second or two. Um,
All right, so let's talk about our betas.
yes.
What do we got here?
So we still got multi-printer beta ongoing. We sent out tags last week and people have been liking them, and we've gotten a whole bunch of nice edge cases that have been discovered. So we fixed, I would say, probably 90% of those now. I think there's one more that hasn't been addressed. And so the multi-printer beta being connecting many printers into one Pi. So there's going to be a kind of like a bug fix update for that going out soon. And the other thing that we did recently was reworked our camera streaming code. So now you can have multiple streams coming into the UI and one camera streaming to multiple UIs without lag.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot with multi-printer beta because you can have, what we were talking about, the last stage of it is connecting more than one camera to the Pi.
Yeah.
So being able to handle multiple streams like that is important. It's also important for Quinly Vision. So yeah, that's a bit of the behind the scenes that's been going on for that.
And I guess that's something that Aurora Tech brought up in her video reviewing Quinly. So we fixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fix was fixed 2 weeks ago and is in an optional update.
It's 1.1.10.
Yeah. So that's been fixed, and now with the multi-hub beta, we're testing something that's even better than that fix. So, yeah.
Also, another thing about 1.1.10 that I quite like is now when you restart your Raspberry Pi, it automatically suspends the printer. So it doesn't start a new job.
That was an issue with some printers, not all printers. So
Ender 3s anyway.
Yeah, it was with printers that were being back powered would sometimes not start in suspended state. So that's been fixed as well, I think. Yeah. So in terms of other betas, we're opening betas for Quinly for Genius and Quinly for the Ender 3 Max.
See, Artillery Genius.
The Artillery Genius.
Yeah. And yeah, so Ender 3 Max is one that we've been asked quite a bit for. And same for Genius, honestly. And it's pretty nice because Genius is like a smaller version of the Sidewinder, which we already have Quinly for. So the development for that should be pretty straightforward. And Ender 3 Ender 3 Max is just a bigger version of the Ender 3. And the developments that we're doing we're reworking the Ender 3 hardware, and that should also be adaptable for the Ender 3 Max without much changes. So thanks to Carlo for working on that.
Yeah. Stuff says we've got over 30 people waiting for the Ender 3 Max, so that's pretty cool. Like that's probably one of the most requested ones outstanding, so that's why we picked it.
Yeah, we usually say for a beta we want like at least 50 people interested, and some of the people on our list here have multiple Ender 3 Maxes, so good enough for us.
Okay, cool. Okay, so those are our beta updates. If you want to keep informed, of course, we'll be posting stuff in Discord as well. Just ping us about where's my beta, what's going on.
And if you want to sign up for these, either Genius or what's it called, Ender 3 Max, you can join our Discord, ask about it, or on our shop page there's a tab for beta sign up. You can click on that. Yeah. And you can get onto the email list.
Yeah, we'll send emails out to everyone whenever a new beta opens. Okay.
Cool. Should we talk about Kickstarter?
Yes.
All right. So,
well,
maybe let's talk about a little bit how things are going these days on Kickstarter, because it's kind of hard to ignore the fact that two huge 3D printer Kickstarters have, one just ended, one just started, the AnchorMake and the Bambu Lab printers, and they're doing very well, and part of the reason is because they are smart 3D printers. So it's kind of what we're seeing in the industry is like more plug and play. We're seeing more like advanced calibration features, things like AI, things like the Bambu Labs has this completely new LiDAR scanning system. And this is where 3D printers are kind of headed. I mean, it's been long enough. There's been not a ton of innovation, I guess you could say, in 3D printers for the past like 3-4 years. But like now in the past couple months, we've seen like a pretty steep increase in like new features for 3D printers.
A lot of like hardware integrated features, which is good to see, because I feel like it has been fairly stagnant. And I know like since we started doing Quinly, we're always saying like, printers need to be smarter. Yeah. And it seems like finally like the market, like smarter printers are breaking out into the market, which is exciting.
Yeah, so our Kickstarter is Quinly Vision, which you might know already, but it's an AI failure detection system for 3D printers. And it doesn't just detect one kind of fail, it detects 14 kinds of fails. And this allows Quinly Vision to stop any failed print like within seconds, like way earlier than if you were only detecting spaghetti, which is when your print is way too far gone for it to be saved or recovered.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Mateo, you want to talk about kind of why are we doing a Kickstarter for Quinly Vision?
Yeah. Actually, Al brings up a good point that I'll tie into this too. So Quinly Vision it's kind of a pretty big endeavor in terms of like we're seeing these smart printers, so clearly there's people like those types of features, but there are already millions of printers out there. And what we're trying to do with Quinly Vision is bring those smart features to printers that people have already invested in and are already using.
Yeah.
And so like with all the stuff we do, it's hardware agnostic, meaning that it can go on any printer and you should be able to use pretty much any camera with it. And so the reason for turning to Kickstarter, which like the platform is intended kind of for a community-backed project.
Yeah.
And if we're going to support all of these different cases, we need to also develop a community to work with us on this project and a community that's invested in the project as well. So that's the reason we've been looking at Kickstarter. One of the nice things about doing a community-backed project is it gives everyone a lot more freedom in terms of where things get developed, in terms of having more input on the final product. So one of the big things with Quinly Vision is that the APIs that will be available, so anyone can build their own app on top of the model.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that our app, our standalone app, is going to be open source as well. So if somebody needs to build a feature into the app that's very useful to them, they'll be able to do that. And the only reason we can do something like that is because the entire project is being backed by a community of, skilled makers.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we ultimately decided Kickstarter would be the best platform to do this on, because it is developing something like Quinly Vision. It's a huge upfront push, a long beta period, and you need to have community involvement throughout that beta period. And we also want to keep everything open so that you can, if somebody has a new printer, a new situation, they can contribute directly back into the app. So yeah, that's kind of the thought process, I think, behind it as well.
Well, having a community backing such a big project like this allows us to kind of focus on like the general direction of Quinly Vision and not have to get kind of tied down by tons of very small details and edge cases.
Mm-hmm.
Because the app's open source, if there's like a bug whenever you connect it to like some weird printer, you can fix it and we'll include it. And we don't have to do all those tiny little bits of like back and forth to actually figure that out.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to wait as much. But the other thing is, like, unlike purely open source projects, the thing that's nice about a Kickstarter is it does provide funding for a team that is going to be dedicated to developing and supporting the project as well. So unlike a purely open source project where certain issues can take years to fix, especially if you personally don't have development experience, you're waiting on someone else to fix an issue that you submit. Whereas with something like a community-backed Kickstarter, there's now the community backs basically a team of devs that that will be working on and supporting this software. So when there are like large users that might not have devs that can fix every issue, there's still a team there that will respond immediately to major issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess part of it is that, so this Kickstarter is for developing Quinly Vision as a standalone app. Mm-hmm. So something that doesn't require Quinly. So you can use Quinly Vision on any extrusion-based 3D printer, essentially anything that runs, anything that pushes plastic through a nozzle.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're detecting. We're not detecting, LCD screen printing or SLS printing, powder printing. Maybe in the future. But
maybe in the future.
right now it's for, FDM, FFF, those kind of printers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Also, we're trying to make it so that it works on, well, it works on every webcam, and like the devices that it runs on, it's not limited to like a specific device. So it should be able to run on like a Raspberry Pi or a Quinly wireless hub, and it should be able to be adapted to other like Linux-based devices.
Yeah, through things like Docker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
thanks for the Red Bulls.
yeah, exactly. So Pat should be happy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our thought process behind it. It's like a community-backed project. It allows us to keep everything open, but it also means that there is going to be a team that's constantly working on improving the product so that no one really gets left behind if there are issues with their particular case. Yeah, so that's very important. Yeah, so what should we show? Well, actually, I'd be curious to get people's thoughts, and I'll come back to Al's comment now, get people's thoughts on Kickstarter as a platform and how they think the best projects should be run. Al had said earlier, it almost seems like Kickstarter has become a place for first sale opportunity instead of product development platform, which is unfortunate. I do agree with that sentiment. I think a lot of people are now going to Kickstarter with like basically using it as a pre-sale platform. What we're trying to do with QuinlyVision is we kind of built out our proof of concept over the last year, and now we want to work through like a beta with the community, like a community-backed beta essentially, and work into taking all of that research and developing it into a product. So yeah, product development platform rather than first sale platform. That being said, when you look at the tiers, the betas are going to open very quickly because we do have stuff developed, and then the final product will be a bit further out.
Yeah, so we actually have plans to do tiers, which are you can join our QuinlyVision beta team, and essentially have access to QuinlyVision by the end of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then our plan is to do a beta until I guess 2023, summer 2023, where we will develop QuinlyVision, refine the algorithm, refine the infrastructure, and then by end of summer 2023, it'll be released as a full product.
Yeah, and collect feedback. That's also going to be important as people try it out.
Yeah,
feedback like how should it be deployed, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it really is more focusing on using Kickstarter to be a product development platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess one thing recently is with Kickstarter, it's the what is it called? Like the spirit of a Kickstarter is to support like innovative projects, and I think recently the current printers coming out are quite innovative. Especially this Bamboo Labs thing is blowing me away with all the stuff it can do. But I would say that QuinlyVision is like a leap ahead in AI development for 3D printing failure detection, and I think Kickstarter is a very good platform for people to support that innovation.
Yeah, and the fact that you don't have to buy a whole new printer just to use this feature. Like,
yeah,
we want all the features that we built to be usable across all printers. Yeah, but I agree. I think it is a good spot for that. And actually, Bamboo Lab is quite late in development. Like they're basically done.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much they had already finished. Like they already finished their production. Like they finalized production. They sent stuff out to reviewers, and then opened their Kickstarter. So wow, that's pretty far ahead.
Yeah, well, I think they're using it more as a pre-sale, like a first sale. System.
You can't really be mad because they have so much new stuff in their printer. Really, it's like,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I can't wait for like you'll see some of the features, but like QuinlyVision adds a lot to your printer too.
Mm-hmm.
Al says, I wonder if a name change would be advantageous to a bigger audience. Maybe something like Print Vision by 3DQ, so it's not tied to the Quinly ecosphere. It's an interesting point. Um, hmm,
We spent a long time thinking about names.
yeah.
It is, yeah,
It is like, because it is still automation to a pretty big degree. Like it's automated farm. Well, it's like first of all, it's automated failure detection and response, and the fact that you can uh like create macros depending on what's happening, what it sees happening is very automated.
yeah,
So I think it does still live within the like automation ecosystem. It's just that the part removal and production scheduling on it is not super automated. But that being said, it's going to integrate seamlessly with the rest of Quinly. In which case you kind of you get both of it too, which is going to be kind of cool. Like yeah, total automation.
yeah. Well, this is kind of like our vision, right? We have figured out how to make printers replicate parts over and over without needing someone to go in and take parts off the bed all the time. But now we need something to make sure that that part release is happening properly, that the prints that are produced are good quality prints. If you just let it run and print garbage over the weekend, you've just wasted a whole bunch of filament
Right.
and time.
If you put weird G code in or the printer's not calibrated, yeah.
Yeah, and if something on the printer breaks halfway through a print job, it has no way of knowing, unless it's like something like thermal runaway.
Mm-hmm.
But if a belt becomes loose and you start getting layer shifts all the time, and it just keeps on printing parts out, there's no feedback. There's no sensor to tell the printer, hey, you're getting layer shifts.
Yeah.
And you could have like a closed loop stepper driver, but that's just layer shifts. There's 13 other print fails that exist, and the webcam can look at all different aspects of a 3D print at the same time, and at least with Quinly Vision, figure out 14 different types of fails. It can process 14 different types of fails at the same time. So instead of outfitting your printer with like closed loop steppers, filament runout sensor, one of these like magnetic encoder wheels for your filament to detect jams, tons of other
Crazy
sensors,
stuff, yeah.
combining that all into one webcam. You just plug in the USB to your Raspberry Pi or wireless hub or whatever, and that's all you need. You don't need to super upgrade your printer. Just point a webcam at it. So that's kind of our vision, right? We want AI watching the robot, and kind of that feedback is what makes automation so good.
Steph is kind of getting into some of our future plans with Quinly itself, but
Yeah,
I won't go into it too much. But as she mentions here, planning to start splitting out some of the pieces so that you can get certain parts that you need for automating in your particular case.
mm-hmm. Yeah, we're also looking into stuff like customizable wipe G code. That should be coming at some point. Um, things that make it possible to make Quinly better for your specific use case.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing.
I think this is the case, Al, like for people who are using Quinly Pro and multi-printer Quinly, because I don't necessarily know that the brand is associated with that like widely. But it is something to consider. So should we show like the video, I guess?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we could
Maybe
let's show the video.
we'll show the video, and maybe while we're showing it, I'd be curious to hear everyone's thoughts on some of the recent Kickstarter projects like the Anchor Make and the Bamboo Labs printer. Like, obviously, I'm pretty sure everyone here has seen it. Like, what did you think about it, and how did you find out about it? Because those have definitely, I think, taken the community by storm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess for the past couple years, I don't think Kickstarter 3D printers have had that much hype up until like now.
Yeah.
It's just been a huge spike recently, which is interesting to see, for sure.
Yeah, here's Steph saying Quinly is more about making your printer smart than strictly for automation. And automation is like automating those small tasks, whether it's staring at your first layer or removing the parts of your printer. Those are all things that make your printer run smarter. And especially with Quinly Vision, giving your printer vision to tell what it's going on should, we can build software that makes more intelligent decisions about how to run a printer or how to save a printer. Steph said Bamboo Lab was more credible, she thought, and she heard about it on Twitter. Yeah, I think Bamboo Lab had definitely sent out more review kits too.
Yeah, I do like that.
People.
And also, I think they did some quite good, like their blog posts are quite good, and they have. I like that they had like videos of their manufacturing facility. It just adds to the credibility. Because one of the things with Kickstarter is like you have to, you're pledging money, and you have to make sure that I want to know that I'm getting something that's good at the end of the day. I don't want like, the 2 reviewer kits have all these souped up features, and then they're stripping away parts and giving people like really bad printers afterwards. So it's good to know that, these are production printers that people are reviewing.
Kevin says he saw it on Edge of Tech, although he believes they have a lot more software to do. That's kind of reminds me of AnchorMake, actually, because like AnchorMake was the same way. They said they had the hardware done and they have a lot of software to develop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think being able to, and this is part of the reason that we want to go open source with the app is, with the Kickstarter, there's so much less risk on a backer's from a backer's perspective if it's something that is being built is open source, because the code will always be there. Whether like whatever happens, they will have the code available. It's not just gonna it's not like you can't deliver an open source project versus I know some of the 3D printer Kickstarters I backed, like I don't even know how long ago, like 9 years ago, in 2011 I think it was, they weren't able to deliver anything because it's much harder to do with something like a hardware product, because it's either you develop it and it's done, or you don't. Whereas with something like a software product, especially if it's open source, you see the code base being built in front of your eyes and you have access to it.
Yeah, and if you're part of the beta team, you can participate in that process.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we do have a video that we created for Kickstarter. I think we're gonna do the thing where we play the video and like pause it every once in a while and talk about it, and then play the video a little bit more. Kind of like Quinly Reacts or
Quinly React.
3DQ React.
Reaction video.
Yeah.
This one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me make us transparent and make sure the audio is working correctly as well.
Magic. This yellow background is like the best decision we ever made.
Yeah.
Their yellow screen.
Desktop audio. Okay, sweet.
Okay, let us know if you don't hear the video. Should work though.
It's not playing the audio. 1 second.
Not getting the audio. It's a very dramatic opening. You can see
Yeah, you got it.
cool time lapse.
What? Hold on just a second.
Is it not getting audio from Chrome?
It's not grabbing the audio from Chrome, yeah.
We can just talk with our lovely voices.
Let's see. Why wouldn't it be
Kevin
doing desktop?
says, I think Creality has been getting a bad name for all their Kickstarters lately and their cloud use of letting people post paid models. Yeah, well, I know the print mill. I totally get why they would Kickstarter that. Like that seems, because it's a very new 3D printer, like a belt printer coming in at a relatively hobbyist price point kind of makes sense. I do maybe think about like the CR6 maybe didn't need to be a Kickstarter. It is kind of an Ender 3 with a different leveling sensor. Yeah, I know there have been some controversies with that Reality Cloud.
And it's gonna.
Can't comment too much though. I don't really
I
know
just started.
enough to have a proper opinion on it. I haven't looked into it too much.
There was a thing that we did where we searched "not my model"
Oh,
and it came out with like 8,000 results.
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, Pat, we you missed we were talking about
Yes.
your supply drop.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for the Red Bull.
We haven't actually slept in weeks. So.
Yeah. No, we've been working on this. So we were just about to show. I got the auto working. We're about to show the video, and then we'll get back to your question. All right. Let's switch back. I just started this 16-hour print and it's gonna fail. This is why, but I won't find out until tomorrow. That's why I started developing software that catches 3D print fails as early as possible. Introducing QuinlyVision, the next generation 3D print failure detection software. So this is a first look at the UI. I don't know that we've really posted this too much before.
This is the first time anyone's ever seen this.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, Jack's
unless you've checked out our Quinly Vision sign up page, which we launched like this morning.
Oh, okay.
So
no one's seen that.
Pretty much nobody's seen this, yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk about this in more detail later, but here's like a time lapse of what the UI would look like. Using QuinlyVision, the next generation 3D print failure detection software for all printers. I'm Mateo and I need your help to make this tech available to everyone. Using the latest machine vision research, QuinlyVision recognizes spaghetti and 13 other faults, flaws, and fails. QuinlyVision pinpoints a...
Yeah, it's fun filming all these, like,
Yeah.
we have filmed hundreds of fails at this point, specifically for Quinly Vision, and
Yeah.
I have to say, like, my job some days is literally just film Quinly Vision. Film printers failing.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I get this thing to string? Okay, make it string, and then I film it stringing. And it's like, we have to do this stuff. Otherwise, there's no fails to show Quinly Vision working on. It's just
Yeah.
a fun quirk of the job.
Showing it, yeah. We have to record these because showing it on like the actual data set doesn't look super pretty compared to
Yeah.
these demos. Like the data set is these tiny images. It's like
Yeah, I guess it could be
People
good to
have
say
seen
like
those.
most of the Quinly Vision data is taken from like bad, like normal quality webcam footage.
it's taken from almost all of it is from PyCams.
Yeah,
Yeah, from
Like-
like $10.
the lighting was probably bad in most of those cases, like to kind of simulate what users would actually do.
We might have photos of it that we can look at later to remind people.
Oh yeah, there's
Like is
maybe some old footage. I might have deleted it because it was so old. But
Oh, it's that old. Well, yeah.
actually, that is QV old footage. That's probably it. But we'll show it later, I guess.
We'll show, yeah. I think it's off the computer. It's in our old streams.
Oh, Steph's asking to go back and pause on some of these
Yeah, sure.
fails. Yeah, we can talk about, because we do detect 14 fails, and one of the problems, I guess, is that how do you get 14 different fails across without overloading people with information?
Yeah.
And the point is, we're not going to go over every single one in this video. We're going to go through them, and like when you scroll down the Kickstarter page, you'll be able to see everything. But yeah, so I just, for an example, these are, so this one you can see zits. This benchy's covered in zits, and in some of these ones we've actually disabled the boxes for other fails. Like, so
Yeah.
the one on zits has over extrusion and stringing as well, but we've turned them off just for clarity.
Yeah, because what the AI actually sees is like it would just be too many labels to show. So you turn down some of the sensitivity, and we turned off some of the labels. And we'll actually show you in the UI. You can turn off certain types of detection depending on what you're printing as well.
Yeah, so let's go to the very beginning. I guess it's a good example of sort of the value of Quinly Vision.
Clearcell.
Clearcell. Yeah, apply Clearcell to a 3D printer once a day.
Al's liking the format so far. Okay, the first 30 seconds are good so far.
Cool.
That's good.
Glad
That's
to
good.
hear. Yeah, can we just go back to the beginning?
Sure.
Because we do show like a pretty clear example of when Quinly Vision is better than any other thing that exists.
Right here, you mean?
Like right at the beginning, yeah. Like you can see your print at this point has warped a lot, and most AI failure detection systems out there won't be able to tell that that's a fail because it doesn't look like spaghetti. It looks like a solid object that's being printed. It looks pretty fine.
It looks mostly normal.
Yeah, but warping indicates that it's not connected to the build plate properly, and that could cause any kind of fail later down the line, probably like a detach or something.
Print.
And so you can see as the print goes on, well, yeah, we're pause for dramatic effect. Huge like detach, layer shift, spaghetti, all kinds of madness happens. And you know, we can detect that within maybe the first like 10 layers of the print versus, you know, every other system, it'll take at least hours before, you know, any sort of actual failure happens due to the warping.
Like you can see how small this warping down here is. Oh, you're blocking it?
Kind of.
Yeah. The warping here is really tiny. Like just take a really close look at how it gradually happens over time.
Yeah, QuinlyVision is good at detecting warping. It's like
it's quite good at.
I would say it's if you're just glancing at a print, you're just walking past and giving it like a 2-second look, you probably wouldn't even see the warping unless you were specifically looking for it.
Is there an example of like, I think there is later in the video we show catching the warping and then
I think so. Yeah. We'll see. I forget all the details. But...
So actually in this screen, this is a good screen to look at. If you look at the chart at the very bottom of the screen, you can see like the warping is detected very, very early. And then the other fails come in, well, hours later.
Yeah, and you can see the spike of the detach. I guess, yeah, you can see that on the screen. But like the detach goes from 0 to 100 like within a few, really quick, basically.
Yeah.
It's because, you know, when a print moves from here all the way to here, it's very clear that it's no longer attached to the plate.
Yeah, detaches are pretty binary. It's like
yeah, it's a binary fail. It's either detached or it isn't.
Yeah, and all the different fails, they have to be detected in different ways. Like warping is very looking for changes over time.
Yeah.
Spaghetti, you can mostly visually see it. Detach again is a change over time, but it's much more binary. It's like, is the model where it was before in relation to the build plate, that kind of thing. So this graph is actually a really good example because you can see like the fails don't all happen at the same time. You get warping, and then you might want to be warned about that warping because that's giving you, like in here, it looks like it gives you pretty almost 2.5 hours of notice before the actual fail happens. And that's 2.5 hours of printing. That's 2.5 hours worth of filament that you're saving. And who knows how much time like this takes to clean up.
Yeah, they're saying we should move ourselves to the top corner.
Sure.
Apparently, yeah, because I guess I'm kind of blocking some text.
Here?
There's not really a good place for us though.
I can just make it smaller.
Yeah, maybe just make it smaller. That could help. That works.
Okay, we're really small now.
Yeah, it's super small. That works.
Okay, so let's continue watching the video, and I'll answer these two questions here. It's not as linear as you might expect it to be. Okay, so yeah, unmute. For all printers. I'm Mateo, and I need your help to make this tech available to everyone. Using the latest machine vision research, QuinlyVision recognizes spaghetti and 13 other faults, flaws, and fails. QuinlyVision pinpoints exactly what went wrong. To find problems earlier, here's exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's very clearly early detection, not like, it's reacting to the cause of the problem, not the end result of the problem.
Yeah. And based on like really small things, that's kind of alluded to in that thing where it says hybrid processing to pinpoint the problem. You're looking at the print at different levels,
Mhm.
and so based on like really small things that probably wouldn't warrant a pause or a warning in itself, but if you see like things changing over time in a certain way, you can start to predict a fail happening. So like one really common sequence is going to be warping, detach, spaghetti. So if you're getting warping and a detach, you can, kind of predict what's going to happen. Or if you
Yeah.
get really, really large or severe warping, you probably don't even need to wait for the detach. You can just be like, well, this is certainly gonna fail, so let's just stop stuff here. And so
Yeah.
that kind of goes to Pat's question. Sorry, you're covered, Stephen.
It's
It's
okay. I'll
great.
exist.
It's great that it sees the problems early. How often does it miss a problem in your testing? Um, it's usually pretty accurate. I mean, one of the things that we're going to be exploring during the beta is going to be that, like, with people's different setups, different colored beds. So, like, for example, this is one of the only times we've used a black colored and shiny glass bed for testing,
Hmm.
and it seemed to catch most things fine. I think I turned the sensitivity up a little bit, um, because everything we trained, or most of what we trained it on, was a green surface. Um, so there's stuff like that where it'll work really well, and then there might be certain cases where um, that we discover through the beta testing where, like, what if somebody prints on a red build plate, for example, and this is like a really simple example, but if somebody prints on a red build plate, maybe it's going to detect nothing, and then we have to account for the circumstance of, okay, well, obviously the fails are all going to look the same on a red build plate, so we need to incorporate that into the model. So that's part of what we'll be doing during the beta period immediately after launch, is just sending out the app and models and really quickly iterating the model as soon as something is not detected, find out what it is that is being missed, and then retrain the model to get that incorporated. Um, One of the things that we do as well is we don't score based on just whether a fail is seen or not. It also takes a time component into account for the scoring. So even if it sees something very small over a long period of time, but it consistently sees it, then you know, like, okay, there's probably something there. Steph saying, yeah, like even just this spaghetti example, that is a lot of filament wasted and a lot of hours of printing wasted.
Yeah.
Uh, Especially when you consider, yeah, that if Quinly is running around 20,000 prints per day, that's, in this case, it was 2.5 hours. So that's like 50,000 hours that were saved
Yeah.
by detecting the problem earlier.
Good question from Al.
This is a good question too. We actually did I think we did a black filament on the black print bed, and it was fine. Because there are things that you can do to ignore the printer. Um, Background removal, a whole bunch of fancy technical stuff.
Oh yeah, automatic Z offset adjustment.
It can detect first layer over extrusion and first layer under extrusion, but I don't know, maybe like a longer term thing, because you can say, okay, first layer over extrusion probably too close, and it would suggest in the correction wizard, it would suggest your nozzle might be too close. But automatically doing that, I don't know. That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a risky thing to do, basically. Like
Yeah.
if you got your vapor bed and you install Quinly Vision and
Yeah.
it just lowers your nozzle down into the bed and scratches it, like that's not an experience anyone wants. So,
It's something we would have to test a lot. I wouldn't say it's impossible, because I think with pro cams you can totally do that kind of thing.
well,
Um,
Bamboo Labs has done it.
yeah,
They claim anyway.
right.
Well, the reviewers have also kind of verified it, but
Yeah,
it does seem to work.
I think you'd be able to do it for sure. LiDAR makes it way easier, but we're
Hmm.
limited to webcams right now. So I think it would be possible, but you'd have to mount your webcam in a place that you can see that first layer really well.
Hmm. And there could also be probably like some sort of threshold where like, you can only adjust the Z within like plus or minus 0.1.
Yeah.
So even if it's too close, it doesn't scratch your bed.
Right. Right.
Oh yeah, just put us in front of the comments.
Yeah.
Beautiful idea.
Okay, let's continue the video.
Yeah, we're only a few minutes through.
Move to the top of the screen. We'll be like,
Well, we can just go in front of the comments, right?
maybe here. If we're at the top of the screen, we're just like,
There's usually stuff at the top of the screen.
yeah, there's text at the top.
Let's just go to the bottom and then be in front of the comments because I don't
Okay.
think we're covering anything right
Okay.
And respond faster.
now. Of course, yeah.
Oh my
Let's just go
God.
into the corner.
Oh my God.
Fine, everyone.
Okay, we're here. We're here in the corner.
To find problems earlier and respond faster. So that this doesn't turn into this. You can even customize QuinlyVision's response.
This is good. So, I guess part of the this says auto response options. I'll go up here. We're just gonna rotate around the screen.
There's no good corner.
So auto response options is kind of one of the parts
Wait.
that excites me about Quinly Vision because, well, of course you can detect 14 different kinds of fails. That's cool. But now you have all this information. You have information on what fail you have on your print, and you can adjust the response that the software has when it detects this fail. So you can see in the screen there's 3 different options. Either your print gets paused, waits for you to do something. So either you just check it remotely through your phone. You can see, okay, looks good, keep going. Or you can say, okay, no, this is bad, stop the print. Notify is just a notification. So it says, hey, maybe there's some stringing on your print. Just thought you'd want to know. Most people don't care enough to stop the whole print though, so I'm just going to keep printing. And then maybe ignore is for something like, say you're trying to purposely over extrude for some reason. Maybe you want to make a watertight print. You want to just disable it entirely. Then you can just say ignore over extrusion. Don't even notify me. I don't want a notification. And you can do that for every one of the 14 fails.
Not only that, we plan to, in addition to this, so in addition to pausing, notifying, or ignoring, add the ability to do custom responses. So if a detach is detected, you could tell, well, a detach is not a good example. What would be a good example? Maybe something like
What, under extrusion?
Under extrusion.
So you can just maybe like, so if it detects under extrusion during a print, for example, it sees like there's little gaps between extrusion lines. The first thing that you could probably just do is slow down by 50%, right? Because a lot of times people try to push their printers way too fast, and that causes under extrusion to happen. And you can have the automatic response of Quinly to be slow down the print by 50% if you see under extrusion. And, you know, more often than not, that'll probably help fix the problem. You know, especially if it's something that just happens to occur. Like, you know, your E-steps don't just change halfway through the print, right?
Yeah.
Your flow doesn't change halfway through the print. So if it just immediately starts detecting something, maybe then it's an E-steps issue. But if it's something that happens halfway through the print, which is, you know, probably going to happen quite a lot, then you can say, hey, whenever you see under extrusion, just slow down by 50%. Even if it wasn't the cause, there's no damage that's going to be done if you slow down by 50%. So actually, that's something that would be helpful in like other situations, like slowing the print down. You know, if you see like, if you see like stringing, for example, maybe not slowing the print down, but maybe you could say, hey, reduce retraction distance or increase retraction distance.
Yeah. Put a multiplier on the retraction distance.
Yeah.
So like this like, think about this for your printer, right? Your printer can now see what it's printing. It can see if something is wrong, and it can live adjust to try and fix those problems without you having to be there at all. Like
Yeah.
You set this up so that your printer is basically doing your work for you, and that is something that I'm super excited about, because that's this whole idea of having smarter printers. If the printers within reasonable parameters can make adjustments to how it's printing um, on its own, then that saves you so much work and so much hassle, because you know what you would do if you saw over extrusion or stringing, and you can just program that in so that it triggers whenever QuinlyVision sees those types of problems. Yeah, Al says sort of like a real-time volumetric adjustment.
Yeah, and Aldo, it's a good point. So when Quinly Vision combines with Quinly, you get a few more options, right? You get the ability to clear the print bed, start it again, or maybe clear the print bed, skip the item in the queue that failed, and then go to the next one. And that means that instead of waking up to a failed print and like, just your printer waiting for you, you have a failed print and then like 25 good prints,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of like our vision, our Quinly vision.
Okay.
I had to do it at least once. I won't do it again, I swear.
Madbit, make sure to check the description if you're still around for the Discord channel. That's where you'll get notified of future live streams and also more news around this.
The recording is also going to be on our channel.
Of course.
After.
Thanks for stopping by. So another thing about this that would be cool is, maybe a print fails once, but QuinlyVision has seen it succeed many times in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Then what you could do is when it's combined with automation, try reprinting it. Like clear the bed, try reprinting it. See if this one fail was a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
And then what might happen is that print might succeed overnight, and you come back in the morning and you have like one partially failed print, but you still have your good print. It's not like you're waking up in the morning to a huge mess. You're waking up in the morning to something that was caught early and the part that you actually wanted to print. And I feel like that would be kind of magical.
And this ties in with Pat's comment here. Hopefully this feeds back into Pro, so you can get error stats on models and how they failed. And so, like, let's say a model that you printed 100 times fails once, right? That model is already a reliable model. It's just maybe some random event happened that caused it to fail. So you can print it safely. You can probably print it again, and it'll be fine. Whereas if you have a model it's tried to reprint like 3 times in a row and it's failed each time, then it's going to consider that just probably bad. Skip to the next one. And that's something that we're going to do with Quinly Vision, and I guess specifically Quinly Vision Pro is have those failure stats available to people with like multiple printers, or just anyone who wants to have like a really good detailed view of fails over time and like fails per printer. Maybe you get certain fails at certain times of day, right? Maybe ambient temperature is causing some certain problem. It's can't predict everything, but having these stats available to you so you can make judgments on, like, by looking at your farm from like a wide view rather than just, oh, this failed today, this failed yesterday. Like, people don't track the fails that happen on the print farm.
It's too much of a hassle. Like, every print farm we've talked to, or even just people running like 2 or 3 machines, it takes so much effort to track things at this level. So if you can have your printers do it for you and just give you the high level insights, like, that will help you make much more valuable decisions and in much less time than if you were to try and track it yourself. Like, we tried manually tracking stats on our print farm, and it just was so much of a hassle. Like, it would take like an hour every day to count all the production. And it's very easy to fall behind. So if you can automate that part of it, like, you get very, very valuable insights about how you're running your farm, what types of filaments you might be using, things like what Al says here, even predictive maintenance. So if you have a part that's going really well all the time and it suddenly 2 or 3 in a row you get warping, you might want to check whether your bed is dirty. The alternative to that would be without the smartness of QuinlyVision, what would happen is you would start a print and it would warp, and you'd be like, okay, clear it, start the next print, warp again, and like you might not be around, so you come back and the print is warped and unusable. And then you start a third print and you're like, okay, something, and you have to stare at it and see why it's warping. Something bad is like, there's something wrong with this particular machine. And then you would really start to go and diagnose what's wrong with the printer. And that takes a lot of your time. But if you could automate that part, which you will be with Quinly Vision, Quinly Vision will just tell you, hey, this printer is not performing, it's getting warping more than usual. Here are some things that you can check and quickly address. And that's the only interaction you'd have. Like, it'd basically be like a 10-second interaction. Like, okay, I need to go clean this print bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Manual tracking is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Like right now, it's the print farm we have. It's more like, okay, this printer layer shifted once. Is that a problem? I don't know. Just keep printing on it. It's fine. Then maybe it layer shifts again. And we have to keep track of that in our brain. Like, oh yeah, it also layer shifted about a week ago. Let's just keep an eye on that one.
Yeah.
And then we're doing that for all the printers because they all have different things going on. And then over time, these problems are changing. We're not sure like what the problem is. Eventually, we just have to do, okay, let's just fully maintain this printer. But if we had those stats to see, okay, layer shifts are increasing on this printer, let's tune it up before it stops or before it gets too bad, right? Stats are power.
Yeah. Like, I think this tool will enable people, well, the printers will run themselves in a much smarter way, and it will also enable you to work better with your printer. Yeah, people tell us it takes so much time to track and sift through data. Yeah, it's basically like a universal story among print farms that we talk to.
Also, the thing is, the bigger your farm gets, the more valuable data becomes.
Yeah.
But also, it becomes impossible to track because you have so many printers. So people just have to deal with it, essentially. But now you have an easy solution for it.
Yeah, and the thing with big print farms too, or I mean, even normal sized print farms, like you'll usually have 2 people running them.
Mm-hmm.
And like the more people you have, and if you're not tracking the data in a shared place, like the more discordant everyone's tracking becomes. Like if I'm doing the morning shift, I would see 1/3 of the layer shifts on this printer. Someone else would see the other third, and someone else would see the other third. So the problem doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah.
Unless they're constantly like recording stuff and talking to one another.
Well, that's like, I've been doing like Kickstarter for like the past week or so, and then recently, since most of the Kickstarter, there's still a lot to do, but a lot of the Kickstarter work is done, I'm back doing some production and hardware stuff. I've had to get the rundown from Carlo, like which printers are good, which printers are bad.
Yeah.
Any issues with this one? Can I use that printer? All these little things that would have just been nice to know just by looking at a dashboard.
Did you already fix this one too? Is like,
yeah, because it's like I've been away from the print farm for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So
yeah, I've seen this like physically done, and we actually used to use little cards, but it still was too difficult to track. Yeah, this printer has not seen a failure in blank days.
Yeah, no nozzle blobs in since 2022.
Yeah, so that's what we want to build into the Quinly Vision dashboard.
That would be fun, actually.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that specific thing. Yeah, that would be fun to do.
In the failure history,
yeah. Should we keep the video going? I think we've been on the screen.
We haven't made it to a full minute yet. Okay.
Depending on the intent of this, you can even customize Quinly Vision's response depending on the type of fail that it detects. If there's any sign of warping, safely auto-pause the print and wait for further direction. If you don't care about a bit of stringing, you can tell Quinly Vision to ignore it and keep printing. You can relax, knowing that your print is taken care of.
Model, because this one's confusing. Just for like 10 seconds.
Okay.
What is model?
Model is my print on the build plate. It's like inverse of detach.
Yeah.
Except,
it's basically like, this is good.
Yeah, there is something printing.
Yeah.
Get alerted at the first sign of trouble and get a comprehensive view of what's going on with your print. including what actions QuinlyVision has automatically taken and what fails are present. QuinlyVision reports how much time and filament you've saved. QuinlyVision allows for manual override at any point in the print. You can also adjust sensitivity on the fly to give you complete control over how it behaves. Not sure what to do with this fail? The Correction Wizard has you covered. It has a database of expert advice on
so
how
the
to...
Correction Wizard is kind of...
That's kind of what we've been talking about with what Al was mentioning earlier. But
Yeah.
that'll be like, a database of advice. A lot of it will be written by Sean from 3D Print General. So, he has his book about 3D print fails, and that will be actually integrated into the app itself. So it'll pull up the correct chapter based on what's going on to help you fix stuff.
Yeah, and like another useful thing is, so the print correction wizard, it doesn't, so when you look at a failed print, like if you see the one in the screen, it looks like a layer shift, right? Some people would say, oh, this print looks like a layer shift. I'm going to go figure out what to do when you get a layer shift. Yeah, there. Right? That looks like a layer shift, right? But the problem isn't that you got a layer shift, it's because your print moved from the bed, it detached. And detach wasn't actually your problem. Your real problem was that your print was warping. So this is sort of the idea of root cause analysis. The print correction wizard will go through your fails, starting with the first one, and then going in order from most recent, or the one that happened first, and then the one that happened second, then the one that happened for third. So for this one, you actually want to fix warping. You're not going to fix layer shift. You're not going to fix like spaghetti or detach, because warping was actually the cause of the whole problem in the first place. And if you don't get this sort of timeline view of when your fails occurred, it might be hard to tell what caused what, right? Maybe the layer shift caused the detach. It's hard to tell unless you actually get to see this information.
I should also, it's not necessarily just in the order that they happen. There will sometimes be things like if two fails combined.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah.
Certain scenarios, like bad first layer and over extrusion could mean that your nozzle is too close.
Yes.
But over extrusion on its own could mean that your E-steps are wrong or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some good combinations of fails. And I guess that's something that we'll have to get over our beta testing. But like say we see a lot of people getting two types of fails at the same time that leads to a very specific solution, then we can kind of incorporate that into the 3D print correction wizard and fast track you to that very specific solution instead of just bombarding you with like generic advice like level your bed, E-steps.
level your bed. This is, Al says this project has so much potential to get 3D printing into the mainstream and make it seriously easy to print. That's part of the idea and like the whole app is very good for beginner users because it teaches them about what's going on with their prints, but it's also very good for people who are experienced because people who are experienced usually don't have time to micromanage their machines like this. So if you can just go into the interface and it tells you immediately, what do you have to fix? That's still really useful. Like when I go, for example, at home, when I print on my printer, and I have Quinly automation on my printer, but I see something's wrong. Like I don't want to have to go to the printer and go through the whole diagnosis process to figure out what is wrong and what I have to fix with my printer. If I could just in the same UI I used to send my print jobs, see like, oh, something went wrong, it was warping, then I know, okay, I don't even have to go downstairs. I just need to reslice my model. And maybe, I just need to reslice my model. Or if it says something like spaghetti, then I know, okay, I just have to clean up the printer. The nozzle's probably not damaged. I can safely start printing afterwards. So even for people who are really experienced printer users, I think this provides a lot of value in that it will save you a lot of time and a lot of I don't know. There's something about having to fix a problem on a printer that just makes me want to put fixing the printer off.
Yeah. Well, there's one of the things about like this sort of plug and play aspect.
Pat says exactly what I was just saying.
Oh,
I
yeah.
literally put the problem printers in a corner until I have time to deal with them. Like that's exactly like because what even on our farm, when a printer's not working, and we don't really know why it's not working, you have to go through the whole like gauntlet of calibration, and that takes so much time to do. So if something can just tell you, okay, printer 5 is it's just seeing like a lot of warping, then you know, okay, I don't have to replace the wheels or whatever, the gantry. I don't have to look at any of that stuff. That's so funny. Yeah. Actually, there was a really big print farm we talked to where they were like, they said the same thing. They were like, yeah, we basically just take the printers out of production when they break, and we don't put them back in until we need them. We like maintain them one at a time to put them back in.
Yeah. Yeah, like no, they make them shame them into working.
Shame them into working, yeah.
Yeah, but one of the things about 3D printers is that usually they don't tell you what went wrong. Like a lot of devices, like a paper printer will say, hey, paper jam, or hey, out of ink. When a 3D printer goes wrong, you're lucky if it says E1 thermal runaway, and most people are like, what does that mean? Right? When you get Quinly Vision telling you like, hey, this is what went wrong, this is how to fix it, that brings it one step closer to that sort of exactly plug and play experience where you expect the 3D printer to, if it doesn't work, it at least tells you what to do to fix it. Because a lot of products, you know, like a paper printer will tell you what to do to fix it.
Yeah, PC load letter.
Give you an error code, or like a blue screen of death. At least it gives you an error code, right? Yeah. 3D printers, they just create a pile of garbage and say, this is perfect.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, here you go. Nothing wrong here. Yeah, exactly. We don't want that. That's not a good aspect of printing, and I think it turns a lot of people off of printing, and also makes people just like it limits your ability to print more. Like the fact that farms like Pat's put problem printers in a corner because they don't have time to deal with them, it means you have more printers than you need, and it means that you're printing less than you could be.
That's also true. But then if you get a huge order and all your printers are in the corner and you don't have enough printers to deal with your order, now you have the problem on your hands, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the idea is to, rather than just having it's the same idea that's kind of behind the Anchor Make and behind Bamboo Labs printers, to make them smart enough for anyone to use. And like really there's this massive curve when someone gets their first printer, and if they want to get good prints, there's a huge learning curve. And I think most of that is actually unnecessary, because that learning curve, I would say the majority of it is learning how to fix problems with your printer or learning how to identify problems with your printer. So if you don't have to do that anymore, and if the software, with the correction wizard takes you to a chapter in Sean's book that says, here's how you fix this problem, you're now not wasting time looking up tutorials online, finding dubious advice on Fix My Print. Like it's definitely a lot of value there to anyone. I really want to use this myself because I just don't have time to diagnose issues with my printer, even though I know I can. It's just,
I'm sort of looking forward to Fix My Print having only interesting problems now.
yeah.
Like Quinly Vision will take care of your basic stuff. It'll say, hey, whatever, do your stuff. Maybe you have a very strange, weird problem that, like a computer vision software wouldn't be able to fix. Give me those. I want to solve the hard problems, not like level your bed. I'm done with that.
Right, exactly. Or warping. It's like there's a prescribed set of steps you should start with always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Problem printers. Yeah, everyone's got some problem printers. If you have more than one, well, even if you have just one, it's probably also a problem printer sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue with the video. We've made it 1.5 minutes through.
Yeah.
This okay, so this this is a cool thing that Pat's saying. This is something that we would really like to do, and I think it would depend on like how far the Kickstarter goes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're trying to, QuinlyVision is really for everyone. It could be for users as advanced that want to put their own response logic in. And maybe it could even be conditional logic like you're suggesting, as well as for users that just want the detection and to make sure that their printers run safely, and can tell if there's something wrong happening.
Well, this also points at one of the things that I'm looking forward to is super experimental, but 3D print optimizer, where it increases your print speed by 10% until something goes wrong.
Yeah.
It just makes your whole, wealth of 3D print files potentially just a lot more optimized without you having to do anything. That could be awesome.
Print's taking 20 minutes, lower the AC. So, I mean, that's like one of the things too, because the APIs for the app will be, or for the models will be available and the app will be open, you can actually put that kind of stuff in for, like, if you have a specific AC that is Wi-Fi controlled.
It's smart ACs.
Yeah.
So
You could build that in, and just connect it into the app if you wanted to do that. Okay, let's continue with the video.
Yeah.
Of expert advice on how to slice your prints, tune your machine, and use different materials. QuinlyVision works in almost any light condition.
We do have to talk about this.
Did we show this before?
I think we did, but this kind of goes back to the question about like red filament on a red plate. It's kind of similar, right? Very dark screen, or I guess very dark background, very low light, very low contrast. How does QuinlyVision still work on this? Like, what is the underlying reason why it can detect such subtle changes in
the magic of image processing?
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool, like, I read a lot of research about machine vision, but also just general image processing research. And yeah, you can use some pretty cool tricks to get really good low light performance. So we did do a comparison between this, like suppressed video, like very darkened video, versus the raw video, which was just taken in normal daylight. And this is catching about 60% like of the fails there. However, this is still enough to tell you that something is wrong. Like, it's the ones that it is detecting right now, it's confident that they're there, and it's confident enough to give you a warning, or even, depending on your settings, pause the print. But yeah, it's like impossible to see, which is crazy. Like, imagine you as a person staring at your webcam and just being like, is there something going wrong here?
You're not going to be able to see that little bit
No.
of graying, or even a little bit of peeling up on the first layer.
You'd have to like screenshot it, take it into Photoshop, and like boost a whole bunch of values, and even then it might still be hard to tell what's going on. Luckily, computers don't rely on like human eyesight and human vision. They can look at things in a very different way than we do.
Well, that's kind of what there's a thing in QuinlyVision, we say subpixel analytics. Like, it looks within the pixel essentially, because it can split it into like RGB and see, like, actually, is there a difference between this pixel and the one next to it?
Yeah, or compositing pictures, so you end up with like more resolution than you started with. You can do that too. That's what video is really great for. CRS1 says, I like the idea of AI-based optimization. Yeah, that kind of thing, like, even with just the logic, adding logic to the responses, that kind of thing would be possible, because you can just like have logic that says, if you have Quinly automation, you could say, clear the print and start the new one, but lower the temperature by 5 degrees, the nozzle temperature. So yeah, this is going to be really cool. Or even within the print, like if it's detecting stringing, you can do within print optimization.
Well, that could be the decode auto response for stringing, just reduce temperature by 5 degrees.
Right.
Up to 3 times until.
And then what could happen is, what if that causes under extrusion? And then your under extrusion auto response could say, well, increase the temperature back up 3 degrees.
Yeah.
And then it's going to middle out somewhere. Or maybe you can use multipliers for temperature. Like increase it by 1% if it's under extruding, decrease it by 1% if it's stringing, and then automatically like find that perfect temperature.
So it'll PID tune not your hot end, but your entire slicer
Your
profile.
print. That's kind of insane to think about, but it would be possible if you set it up that way. That'll be the next thing, best thing to improve productivity once all the printers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't need to stand over my printer with a flashlight in order to not. Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah. Although it probably would be
We would
a good
recommend
idea
it.
to use a light.
This is like really pushing it because this is yeah, I wouldn't recommend this at all.
Like not ideal, but we can handle it.
Yeah,
But you know, if you're really trying to get the best results, just use a light.
like really don't try this. Like
Yeah.
this is not really not recommended.
It's like it's a stress test to demonstrate Quinly Vision, not the recommended setup.
And you lose like 50% accuracy at minimum.
Yeah.
But it means, you know, if something weird happens or your camera's bad, it should still work to a decent extent.
Because you know there's going to be like that one guy with like an upside down webcam with like, you know, wires hanging in the background in dark room.
Yeah.
There's just going to be that one guy.
Puts
And
the
we'll
printer
still, we'll
in a
still hopefully be
closet.
able to detect something on his
Hopefully.
prints.
Yeah.
For 24/7 supervision. And subpixel analysis will allow it to see more than the human eye for faster detection. Plus, you can check in anytime, anywhere, and see full details at a glance.
Okay, so the mobile-based UI. So remote UI and mobile-based.
Our goal is to make it easy to install, requiring
Yeah, it answers the red filament.
no coding and able to work with any printer and any camera. Easily runs on Raspberry Pi or any other Linux-based device. Our secure tunneling protocol keeps your information safe when you access your printers remotely. The QuinlyVision app will be open source, and full access to our APIs means that you can easily integrate it with Octoprint, Clipper, Mainsail, or other software. Try.
So that was another, I guess, a little thing that we didn't mention was because it's going to be an open platform, you can choose to integrate it with other things like Octoprint and Clipper. Yeah, you just have to build the integrations. Or we could, I don't know. I don't know how we'll structure that. Maybe as a stretch goal or something.
Yeah, that's something that we would ask. Actually, if you guys have any ideas of what you'd like to see as a stretch goal, like so anything that we haven't talked about yet, something that you might like, any ideas that you have that would be cool to have in Quinly Vision. Because part of Kickstarter is stretch goals, where if you meet your goal and then exceed it by a certain amount, then you'll add like this new feature that people are asking for. So if you have those, ask it in Discord or in the chat here. It'd be nice to know what you think.
Yeah, I guess the feature, like how many features get put in will depend highly on stretch goals, because we are framing this is a product development Kickstarter, so depending on how much is raised will also will determine how much we can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could do this because the APIs are available, and I know there's like some stuff you can do with Alexa. Just, Alexa, print me a Benchy for 8 p.m.
Okay, this smart home stuff is fun. Actually, I just got smart lights in my house yesterday. Things that will turn on in the morning and turn off at night automatically. Saves me from having to hit the switch at night. It's really good.
Yeah. So is one of the stretch goals going to be voice control?
Please no. Nothing needs voice. I would be too I wouldn't want to use voice control on a 3D printer. I'm sorry.
Oh, we activated his Alexa. Alexa, delete system 32.
Oh, could be Al might be not very happy with you.
Turn off all the lights. Yeah, so I guess one thing, now that we've seen the video, One thing we'd like to hear is like, are there any thoughts on what you've seen, or any kind of anything you're really looking for in terms of the base offerings for QuinlyVision? Um,
Like, or was there anything in the video that wasn't particularly clear and you want more information on?
yeah, that's the kind of stuff, feedback we would want to hear, and that's the kind of feedback we're going to be asking for throughout the project.
Yeah.
Once it's finished, once we're in beta, like always want to know, are there any features you're really excited for, anything you didn't see that you want, or things that were unclear, or things that might not be useful either.
Yeah, because one of the problems when coming up with like a Kickstarter video is like we know it all. We have an idea of what the product is and what the
Yeah.
value is, who it's for. But if we don't get that across in the video, it's because we've already filled in all the gaps in our brain and we assume it makes sense to other people too. So if we're getting like a fresh set of eyes on this, it's actually really helpful to get your feedback. So if you can like once we post the video, somewhere on Discord, let us know what you think and what we could change, because I'm sure that there's probably some room for improvement at some point within the video. So let us know.
Yeah, or even just let us know what your expectations are
Yeah.
for how the project would be run. We've kind of explained why we've decided to do Kickstarter and go this open route, because we think that's the best way of working with the community. Okay, yeah, let's answer some
You got
questions.
some questions now. That's good.
How about being able to not only optimize prints, but maybe increase print speeds to do things faster? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing we were talking about. Like with Quinly Vision, you'd have the potential to say if a print finishes successfully, print the next iteration of it 10% faster, and that could actually be in the standalone version and the Quinly version. But the Quinly version, that could be automated. But that's certainly something that could be done. Yeah.
How does the open source part work? Can this be run entirely locally? Is a sub for cloud services, AR models, more features? So the sub is going to be for cloud stuff and for the AI models. We can discuss, like right now, I guess in terms of simplifying development the most, deploying software to a whole bunch of different hardware setups is really difficult. And so particularly with things like the machine vision backend. So what we will try to do in order to make things accessible is make it run on-prem as much as we can. But I know that there are some things that can't be run on-prem. Usually deeper analysis has to be run on a pretty beefy machine. And that deeper analysis is also the kind of stuff that wouldn't run like as quickly as like detection and stopping fails. But that analysis is like really, really valuable and really important. So the app and the interface and everything, that's going to be open source. It's stuff where you can build logic into it. The models will be hosting them, at least partially, the bigger ones. And then, of course, if you want like remote access through our service, that kind of thing, will go through our servers. But I think if we were to do an entirely on-prem solution for it to work, we would have to provide like a box basically that's been set up and everything's been installed, and then you would work in that hardware box. Because if you think about like trying to support a lot of different hardware is really hard, as we know. Like just even working across different versions of Pis and working with different printer motherboards is already enough of a challenge. So trying to get a like machine learning stack and fitting it and providing support and documentation and install instructions to work on anyone's PC is very difficult because we don't know the specs of their computer. So if we were to do an on-prem solution, it would have to come with like a certain set of hardware. And I think that's something that would be worth discussing with for larger farms or for people who do need on-prem. I think for the vast majority of people, that's not really going to be top of their mind because they might just be running one or two machines.
Yeah, and I guess it's probably worth saying, when you say like hybrid processing, that means that there's like some level of local detection going on and some level of sending stuff to the cloud and receiving something back. So that's kind of how we're trying to make it more efficient in terms of like not sending like HD video streams to the cloud.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like all the features that we showed are, and this is like kind of really technical, but all the features that that we're building onto Quinly Vision are built around how we plan to do our data pipeline. And what I mean by that is, we want to minimize bandwidth where possible. We want to keep stuff on-prem where possible. But it may not be possible for like all features to be running on an on-prem device, if that makes sense. Going back to print optimization, this prints 100% of the time, increased speed, still works 100%, permanently increase the speed on that model.
Yeah,
like that would be
essentially
really
what I was thinking when I was saying the automatic optimizer, whatever we call it. But yeah, print speed's obviously the first thing you can do. Acceleration and jerk are also two things you can adjust. That could be like a global thing, maybe. There's a lot of room for optimization, I think.
Print this model standing up, but if you printed it laying down, it would be 30% faster. That I don't know how we would. That's pretty crazy because you'd have to have a slicer built in for that.
You just send all your models to me, and I'll be like, no, do that.
We'll send them to Steven.
Or actually, Jack. Jack would love to do that. He would critique your slicing all day. But I think something like that is actually much harder to do. Oh, true. That's actually maybe a good idea for a Kickstarter goal. Auto optimizer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like speed optimizer.
And that's actually a realistic thing to do as well.
Yeah, it's not too hard. Well, I mean, in concept, it's not too hard.
Yeah.
It would
in implementation, you have to do it properly.
It would require a lot of dev time.
Yeah.
But yes, I know how we would do it. It would require
everything's easy, but it's always hard.
It's easy, but it requires a lot of resources.
Yeah. Because then, what if you make it too fast? What if you don't? Oh no! What if you accidentally make it too slow? Well, not really, but whatever. If you wanted an add-on, yeah, actually, add-ons are something that we are planning to do for this Kickstarter. And I guess it would be nice to know what your guys' opinion of add-ons is, because I think Kickstarter didn't used to do add-ons. At least, they've been doing it for a year or two now, at least. But
that's a good comment. This is true. We can do anything with thousands of supporters. That's true. If enough of the people need an on-prem build, then we can start looking at like, okay, what is a box that we can give you that can run stuff on-prem? Or if people want optimization, okay, we'll do optimization. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone that does like full service machine vision completely on-prem. It'd be really hard.
I don't think
it would be really hard to start with that. That's the thing. Like, it's something that you have to move towards when you have good models.
Like that's probably, not the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna make something that works well first, but again, if we have a lot of support, then it's something that we'll probably have to do.
Different story. Yeah, completely different story.
Yeah, and also I'm looking at, I guess, Al saying tons of old used laptops could be recycled. I'm thinking, what about all these phones that people throw away because they got the newest version of the Samsung or whatever?
I mean, but the thing is, like, do you spend the development time supporting 10 different old mobile phones that might not be perfect for the setup?
Mm-hmm.
or do you spend it improving the model on your known hardware and improving features that, like, it's the features are what bring most value to people versus being able to use a phone. And like buying your own hardware is actually going to be quite expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like almost like negative value in a sense.
Yeah, well, I guess one of the things is like the hardware that we're planning to do is stuff that, if you have Quinly, you've already got Raspberry Pi or a wireless hub.
Mm-hmm.
And tons of people run Octoprint off of Raspberry Pis. And I believe we'll be offering wireless hub as an add-on on our Kickstarter. So if you don't have the device, any device to run Quinly Vision, then you'll have that option during the Kickstarter.
Yeah. And the app itself will be in Docker, so you can run the app itself anywhere. It just like yeah. So that you could use like an old laptop to run it if you wanted to. Let's see. Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what add-ons, um, if anyone was part of the previous Kickstarter too, like what kind of, did you use add-ons at all? Or, um, yeah.
Because I think AnchorMake has done. They did the add-on with the color changer kit thing, and they released that right at the end. So I know some people did that. But yeah, it'd just be good to know like what would make more sense as an add-on, what would make more sense as a stretch goal. Yeah, because we certainly do want to provide add-ons, but only if it makes sense. So wireless hub would be a perfect example of something that not everybody needs. So we'll make it an add-on. But if there's other examples, then we'd like to hear.
Some of the other ones that we were thinking of were like Quinly's as well, like Quinly software can be an add-on like for Quinly Pro, and that would come with beds too, right?
Yeah, Quinly software plus Vaporbed.
Yeah. As an add-on. So like if you wanted the full integration, like if you want to automate your farm, you could get Quinly Vision, and you could just get Quinly Pro with additional beds as well for your farm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we do plan on at some point separating hardware from software more than it is currently.
Yeah. Pat, I think this is definitely a discussion we should explore. We need to build the app first, and then we need to figure out like, okay, how are we ultimately going to deploy this, especially on larger setups? Because yeah, I don't think it would be worth all the dev time to squeeze an ML stack onto like a used laptop. You would probably have to, we'd probably have to provide something pretty beefy.
Yeah, I think phones are actually probably better than laptops in some cases.
Yeah, it depends also on chip shortages too. Like, yeah, if we can, build a server that serves 5,000 people versus having 5,000 people have to build their own mini servers. They're going to get squeezed by the chip shortages.
Yeah, I mean, decentralized manufacturing is different than decentralized networks because, it doesn't take gas to move.
Right.
In some convoluted way, it maybe does if you use a natural gas power plant to power your stuff, but like, it's a lot more efficient than transporting bits by boat.
What about a leasing option?
That could be our $5 million tier.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure what Al means by this. There should be an adopt a dev program so people can get their features done. Yeah, maybe that's the way it should work.
You need to provide Max with Red Bull and whatever else devs eat. Do they eat?
No, we don't feed them.
The dev.
They eat bugs for breakfast.
Yeah, enough to feed a whole family.
Site license is interesting Because it would depend on bandwidth and request amounts. Yeah, that'd be an interesting tier to explore,
Yeah.
like how that would work. Um, let's see. Oh, we should talk about what we're doing. So, we're also gonna do a demo, like a live demo of Quinly Vision.
Oh yeah, this is a huge thing.
Yeah, this is pretty big. I'm sure some of you have seen it already, but in Discord, there's a new channel called, I don't even know what it's called. It's called like Quinly Vision Demo Request, I think.
There's Discord open on our tabs. You can check it out.
It is called.
I
Basically,
liked it.
we're gonna make a bot on our Discord that you can send photos and videos to, and it will run them through Quinly Vision and return like the what it detected.
So it'll draw the boxes around what it thought were fails, label the fails as what it thought the fails were. Essentially the same thing as what you're seeing in our demos.
Yes, so this one is called, let me just switch back real quick. Quinly Vision trial sign up. So if you just hit this button, you'll get a role. And when the bot is live, it will, so in order to prevent like overcrowding, because it's just a pretty small bot, it'll ping you when there's like a slot available to try and use it. So I would definitely recommend grabbing this role, and yeah, then you'll be added to, or once the bot is live, you'll be added to a channel, and you'll have permission to upload photos and videos to it.
Yeah, because that's something that everyone wants to see. How well does this AI work with my printer? You know, sure it works with yours, but does it work with mine? You know,
Mhm.
we get that question with just Quinly in general, but you know, with AI, it's certainly something that I would want to know. I would want to run my video through Quinly Vision too, just to see if it works.
Yeah, and there will be some guidelines, because remember, this is very early stage project, so there'll be some guidelines for like how to best set up your shot for detection, because it is yeah, it's pretty like, it's still pretty early. That's why we need to build a community of beta testers. That's why we're going out to Kickstarter and making everything open and available, is so that we can get as much widespread testing done as possible. So there'll be like a small guide, like try to take them at this angle, try not to take them in completely black lighting, like just some basic stuff. And yeah, you'll get to try it for yourself, which is gonna be really exciting.
Here, Kevin says, see if you could add it to MakerDeck. If you guys don't know, MakerDeck is like a grid of other people streaming their prints. And I think it would be really cool to have like a 3DQ live stream of like automated fail prints, like one after another, and with Quinly Vision like highlighting the fails as they're failing. I think it'd be a really cool demonstration. We would just have to be very clear, like saying, hey, we're doing this on purpose. We're not just really bad at 3D printing.
We're not just bad at printing.
This AI is kind of our main thing here, not the failed prints.
Yeah, we did also talk to the guys at MakerDeck. It would be interesting to see how,
Yeah.
like, getting their stream into ours is challenging, but
Or if we could like screen record their stream, run it
That's
through
what I
Quinly
looked
Vision,
at,
and
yeah.
then put it back.
Yeah,
Or
but-
like run our own stream of it.
it's kind of complicated, but it is something I want to try.
That would be very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you know that channel is manually managed?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It seems.
Yeah, it sounds like a ton of work.
But I see them. They're growing, I think, which is nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other news that we need to share with these people? These wonderful people.
Uh,
I think we covered a lot of it.
yeah, I would say just, oh, what about timing and awareness?
Timing. Yeah, well, I guess in a big picture sense, the timing for our Kickstarter sort of aligns nicely with the other Kickstarters that are going on, because people saw that AnchorMake had AI and we're like, okay, AI is a thing now with printers, right? That sets the stage for now everyone else is saying, okay, well, does your printer have AI or does it not? Right now, it's a feature that your printer either has or it doesn't have. And for every printer before AnchorMake, the answer was no. Right? Printers don't come with AI. So our Quinly Vision Kickstarter is coming right at the time where AI is becoming possibly like a core feature of 3D printers now. And so everyone that doesn't have it is probably going to want some sort of AI on their 3D printers now that other printers have it. So I think in a big picture sense, the timing sounds about right for us. Yeah, was there anything else you wanted to say on that?
Yeah, definitely. We're trying to build awareness. So if anyone saw what AnchorMake or Bamboo Lab is doing, that's cool, and they want it on their printer, definitely let them know about QuinlyVision, because it's basically bringing a lot of the smartness, smart features from those printers and making them available to printers that are already out there. Yeah, exactly. High tide lifts all ships.
Mm.
And
It's a good quote. I haven't heard that one.
yeah. And yeah, we want to generate as much awareness as possible, because the only way we can build these features is if we have a community of people backing development and supporting through Kickstarter, through generating awareness, through testing things and sending stuff to us, sending feature ideas. So that is going to be very critical for this project. Yeah, so like if you're excited about this, share that excitement. Let people know.
I have a really good way that you could share your excitement
What's
too.
a good way?
Well, you know that time lapse feature that we're talking about?
Yes.
We were going to develop? Well, when that's ready, what if people could run their time lapse through our Discord bot and then would highlight the fails? If they had a fail caught on their time lapse, would that be a possibility?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because then they could show their Quinly Vision processed time lapse with Quinly automatic part removal too, if it worked it. That would be pretty cool, I think.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
I think we should make a link that just sends it right to the Discord.
Ooh, yeah. Or it would automatically do it. You could like opt in and say, send all my prints through the Discord bot.
Price structure yet. We'll be releasing the price structure soon. We're still working on finalizing it. However, our lowest tier is going to be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Or not our second lowest tier.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's second lowest tier is the one that I think is going to get people's attention.
Yeah.
But there's, I think, yeah, there's good stuff.
Well, we should say what it is.
Within all the range.
Because I think people will be excited about it.
Sure, yeah. Second lowest tier.
What is it?
Well,
what is it exactly? Because I don't remember exactly what it was.
Well, it's a year of. So, okay, it's a year of Quinly Vision, but minus 13 fails. It's the spaghetti section of Quinly Vision. Because as it turns out, our spaghetti detection algorithm is actually quite good, and we'll be releasing that earlier than the rest. And you also get a month of full Quinly Vision when it's released. So
it's basically like a trial month plus, because you're so early, you get an entire year of spaghetti detection.
Yeah.
And that's $20?
25.
$25.
25 for like a whole year of coverage.
So at $25 you get an entire year of coverage. That includes, 1 month trial. So for people who just want to try it, it's a 1 month trial of QuinlyVision when it's released, and an entire year of spaghetti, and they still get the app and stuff, and they can use it with spaghetti. But yeah, for $25, that's like, I would say that's a pretty screaming deal for an entire year.
So the kicker with that though is you do have to wait a little bit. So I think we're planning for spaghetti to be ready probably around like January 2023-ish. Might be sooner, but
that's because we have to build up the app and the UI.
We have to actually build some infrastructure before we can actually do this stuff.
But a whole year for for $25 is, in
Yeah.
my opinion, is pretty crazy. But
Yeah.
that'll be like our
Well, so the other one that I'm pretty happy about is the beta
mhm.
roles, which mean you get Quinly Vision as soon as possible, essentially, like end of summer, basically. And those you get early access. You get to help guide the development of Quinly Vision with your own suggestions, feedback, and you just get it earlier. So beta, what is it called? We're gonna call it beta team member, probably.
Mhm.
I think that would be a very good tier to land on for a lot of people too.
Yeah, that's basically 1 year full or Quinly Vision, and you get early access.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Steph mentioned the $25 1 year of spaghetti is 24/7 coverage. So there's no like caps or limits on how many hours you can use. It's going to be 24/7 for an entire year for $25, and you get to try out the other Quinly Vision detection stuff. That's like
Yeah.
the most entry level, I think, tier realistically.
Yeah, I think we were gonna say something like unthrottled 24/7,
No caps, no data limits.
no caps, no data limits.
Yeah.
Just for
Yeah.
some people just don't know if it's gonna have that or not. So
Yeah, and I should also mention all of the tiers, and again, when we release them, you'll see, but all of them will be all the detection is 24/7, so there's no like hourly limits per month kind of thing.
yeah, that's way too much micromanagement for people who don't want to be thinking about their printers.
Right, like imagine like you have this automation, but every month you start running out of it. Like it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, and you have to like turn it on for one print and turn it off because you don't want it, and turn it
Yeah.
on.
So it'll be 24/7 without any usage limits in that period.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. So if you know anyone that's excited about $25 for 1 year of spaghetti, definitely get them to sign up to the mailing list. And for those of you who use Quinly, make sure to join because in the add-ons there will be some pretty good deals on Quinly itself as well.
Yeah, and actually, I think it's probably worth saying that some of the more enticing Kickstarter deals are going to be quantity limited. So, it's early bird, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
But there's going to be like a really good deal for the first bunch of people that join, and then the rest of the people that join have to get like a slightly higher priced version of that. So
Yes. Oh yeah, tell them to sign up for the bot in our Discord, and then this is the best place to sign up now. So 3dq.com/QuinlyVision.
I think QuinlyVision.com also redirects. If you want to check it out, but I believe it does.
Oh yeah, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
QuinlyVision.com. Send people expose your email. Send people here if they want to get in on that crazy deal. And there's a little bit of information as well about what we talked about, and
that GIF is pretty good actually. All the 14 fails, like that's what we were going to use to show them all.
yeah.
Because it's way too hard to just go into each one. It's a lot of stuff to cover.
Yep. So yeah, I hope people get hyped about that. I know I'm excited.
Yeah, and we're gonna probably send updates through the email list about like what we're doing, when Kickstarter is gonna go live, what kind of deals you can expect, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So it'll be good to sign up. Tell your friends to sign up. Tell your people who are even thinking about getting a 3D printer to sign up. I know some people who like set up their Raspberry Pi before they even get a 3D printer. And this stuff is kind of probably going to be useful to beginners too. So
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, and Jack joins at the very end.
When does the Kickstarter go? It's going to be going this month. So if you want to get in on it early, make sure you are signed up. And yes, Jack is last minute as usual.
You got to hit your hit the bell when you
Yeah, you gotta hit the bell, hit the
Okay.
subscribe button,
hit
ding
that like
Ding that notification bell.
Ding that like. Ding that notification.
Yeah, you ding
Slap
that
the like. That's what you do
slap
for
the
the
like
like.
button.
You slap it.
Smash that like button. Yeah.
Yeah, Jack, you have to watch the whole rest of the stream because it was full of good stuff.
Yeah, they took a vote and did not. He liked the smash button. Ding that subscribe bell. Alt F4. Jack, you missed it. There's going to be an early bird tier of 1 year of spaghetti detection and 1 month of QuinlyVision for $25. So a whole year for $25. Plus you'll get to mess around with the UI. He back to bamboo.
Oh, he backs everything, so
Yeah.
I think he'll be able to work it out.
Well, that means he likes smart features on 3D printers.
That's true.
So
He's investing in innovation.
you gotta make your other printers as smart as the bamboo.
And you have 40 printers to make smart. So
Right. Right.
actually, you should try this on your Stratasys. That would be fun. If you can get it to fail.
Okay. So, is there anything else we should cover? I think we've gone through everything.
Yeah. I think we covered it.
Awesome.
If you want to continue our conversation, join us on Discord. Links in the description. Everyone here kind of already knows, but if you're watching the stream later or if it's your first time on the channel, hit the subscribe button. We do live streams every week, Wednesdays at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. And yeah, make sure to let people know because this is going to be really cool.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.